And welcome to the Akers Wonderland Road to Stadium Australia Group H discussion podcast episode. And yes, I'm back and I'm hosting, and it's the end of this particular sort of it's the last group, the last discussion we're having before the big kickoff next week. Very exciting times. So just 4 more teams to wrap up, and to go over them together are the incredible Lottie. Lottie, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. It's been raining cats and dogs all day where I am in London. It's been absolutely grim and grey. I've actually had to put my light on for the first time this summer so you can actually see me on screen for YouTube users. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just looking forward to the weekend. A few birthday plans for my partner. So yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait to get stuck into this though.
Mm-hmm. And joining us all the way from Germany, our German expert, Matthias Lorimer Roberts. Guten Tag, Matt. Wie geht's?
For the audio listeners, I am wearing...
Come on, stand up, Matt. Stand up. Come on, show everyone the webcam.
The Germany shirt. Lottie looks like she's disgusted by me. She's almost vomiting on screen. But I'm a shirt collector, and it is just one thing. You nearly said something there, Lottie, and I think you're going to... So, just as well. But yeah, I'm good. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a group that I think when it got drawn, I don't think there was a lot of anticipation towards this one. I think the German fans were, but that's just the Germans. I'm looking forward to this one though.
Yes, it's certainly an interesting group. We will pick that apart shortly. We'll quickly tap in on the Lionesses. They had a behind doors friendly against Canada. And in true Lioness fashion, which seems to be the current trend at the time, they drew 0-0, just as they did against Portugal. Just quick thoughts, Matt, should we be concerned? Or is this just getting off those cobwebs and hopefully we'll be fit and firing for Haiti in the first game?
I think the main problem is that because it was behind closed doors, we don't actually know how they did, so we can't actually analyse the game itself. When I looked at the Portugal game, it was very sluggish. They seemed to be it was almost like a pre-season game that you sort of play like the under 23s or something like that if it was a club game, but I'm hoping that it is a worry because it's against a top competition. The last time we have scored, Adam, you have mentioned this, was in the final ISMA. Alatoon scored. Good news is though we've got Haiti, and Haiti
there's a chance.
Have not got a great record against goods. The top sort of 10, 20 FIFA World Cup ranking teams. So it's one to keep an eye on, that's for sure. But I think
I did the FIFA World Cup on my computer with England, and I played Haiti and I drew 0-0. So I hope that doesn't bode well. I should say I did win the World Cup as well. That was the only game I didn't win. Just to, before Lottie bites my head off. Speaking of which, Lottie, over to you. Just any quick thoughts on any nerves? Do you think, or do you reckon all will be well when we kick off against Haiti?
The thing is, when we talk about football, it's not a case of biting your head off. It's a case of you're a bloody oracle, and it freaks me out. So that's kind of comforting. But the fact that you just said 0-0 against Haiti, and if it, let's just not go there. I think I'd rather these 0-0s come now. Same with the Australia result, and then we move on to the proper results from next Saturday, which I am currently rubbing my hands together. As the YouTube users can see, I've got my New England shirt on, and I absolutely love it. It is the away kit. I will not be buying the home kit. I love this one. So
Lottie's allegiance is clear and correct, which is great to see. Just before we move on to the groups, just quick shout out to the another behind the closed doors friend that occurred today between the Republic of Ireland and Colombia. Sadly, ended after 20 minutes. due to, I believe there was a complaint of over-physicality, and one of their players, Denise O'Sullivan, Roman McVine player, should say, ended up being sent to hospital. And that is where we shall begin with the Colombians. So I could go through your team sheet, but I believe, Lottie, before we begin, you have a little pop quiz for us.
Yeah, it's only just the one question. Out of this 23-player squad that Adam will read off in a second, how many of them actually play outside of the Colombian leagues? Well, no, actually, I should say South America. I do take that back. Outside of South America, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually researched this thoroughly, so I'm going to take a wild guess and say 5.
I did look it up earlier. I believe it's 4.
Hang on. I was going to say, we had a pact where we said we weren't going to look this up after hearing this.
No,
this was earlier in the day. I didn't know this was going on.
No worries. No worries. It's actually 7.
Wow.
And it is mostly their forwards. There's 2 defenders, 1 midfielder, and 4 forwards that play outside of South America. Can't get the words out tonight. It's going to be one of them nights. Do apologise, audio listeners. You must think I'm absolutely nuts.
Well, we'll move on to the said Colombian team. They have in goal Catalina Perez. And then for the rest of the team, they have Manuela Vanegas, Daniela Arias, Dania Ospina.
Sorry to butt in, Adam, but there is actually 3 goalkeepers.
I know the 3 goalkeepers. I just for listeners aware, my list is down by numbers. So positioning goes out the window.
Sorry.
so yes.
So sorry, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm awkward. So as I was saying, these few are at the moment are midfielders, which are Lorena Bedoya, Daniela Montoya, who's the captain, Maria Camila Reyes, Marcela Restrepo, Mayra Ramirez, Licia Santos, Catalina Usme, who's a forward. They've got 2 other goalkeepers, as Lottie said, which are Sandra Sepulveda and Natalia Giraldo. 2 defenders in Angela Baron and Ana Maria Guzman. Lady Andrade, who's a midfielder. Carolina Arias, another defender. Linda Caicedo, who's another forward. 2 more defenders in Jolyn Caraballi, and Monica Ramos. Yvonne Chatron, another forward. Daniela Caracas in defence, and 1 more forward, Alexa Barr. So quite the lineup. Just a quick, before we pick apart some of the players, I think I'd just go over their track record. World Cup wise, they've done all right. 3 previous appearances, made a debut in 2011, didn't go so well, bottom of the group, no goals scored. But 2015, we did actually a bit better. A draw against Mexico, beat France in the group stage, and then they played England. Just a quick shout out. Does anyone remember what the score was in that one? Matt, I'm going to go for you.
I can remember the France one. I read that. I know the France one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Lottie, what's the France one?
It was 2-0 to Colombia, wasn't it?
Correct. Matt, what was the score in the England game? Do you remember?
I think this was an odd one, wasn't it? I think it was 4-0 England.
No, it's 2-1. It was. I think it was Farrah Williams and Kaz Carney.
Wasn't that France game the only game they've ever won in the World Cup? It is, isn't it?
We are just getting towards that. Yes, you probably are absolutely right. So yeah, and then they appeared. They're due to appear. So it was 2011, 2015, and then 2020 the next one. So yeah, it was their first game. They actually got as far as the last 16, lost to USA in the last 16. A very credible run. What's quite more interesting, I think, is they're running the Copa America. They've actually reached the final 3 times. 2010, 2014, and 2022. Have a guess who they lost to every single time. Brazil. Brazil, yeah. The interesting one for me, I've said interesting quite a lot. I'm starting to sound a bit like Matt here, using my eyes a lot. Saying in 2014, they didn't have a final. There was actually a round robin, a knockout format. I think rather than just a simple, three-to-5 final. And Colombia actually drew 0-0 with Brazil, but Brazil just won 1 more game. So yes, they are quite strong in their home continent, but yet to really sort of translate that into the World Cup, and they'll be hoping to do so. I think they're going to be we always say there's so many teams of dark horses, but I think they're going to be one of them. So I'm going to go to Matt first. Matt, out of the team you've heard, who has jumped out for you?
So I've picked Manela Vanegas, the left back from Real Sociedad. She scored 3 goals. She's had 6 yellow cards over the season, but she's played all 26 games. And I'm looking forward to seeing how she progresses on that left-hand side, and if she can jump in with a few goals, a couple of assists, maybe not. Maybe, you never know. This is the World Cup. Maybe she might have a Katie McCabe moment and score a rocket against the Germans.
We can only hope, although not you, Mateus, obviously, being a German fan that you are.
But you never know. This is the great thing, is that you've already mentioned that Colombia have been great in the Copa America, who they lost out to Brazil in the last one, losing 2-1 in that one. Even if you go through some of that Copa America run, they beat Argentina 1-0 in the semi-final.
Yeah,
they beat Colombia they beat Colombia or Colombia? No, Colombia. They won their group games 4-2. They beat Bolivia 3-0. They beat Ecuador 2-1. They beat Chile 4-0. So there's some impressive teams in there that they are well ahead of.
Lottie, just want to touch on you. Anything from your side? You caught your
To be honest, there's a fair few of them. You've got Daniela Montoya, 36 steps, 3 goals, captain. She's got the leadership, she's got the grit, she's got the defensive resilience. First World Cup was in Germany 2011, so they made it to the round of 16, as you said earlier. Got sent home by the USA. Then you got Leslie Santos, 15 caps, 2 goals. Creative midfielder, who was influential on and off the pitch. She moved over to Atletico Madrid in 2019, and she is carving the way for Colombian football on and off the pitch for future generations. And you got Catalina Uzme, was captain, I think, if I remember that rightly.
Yeah. It's now Daniela Montoya.
Yeah, but she still is the leading all-time goal scorer with 48 goals. Her character and determination, it has forged her own reputation. It speaks for itself. And then you've got the goalkeeper, again, Catalina Perez. Her reflexes, a safe pair of hands, and the ability to command a penalty area is just absolutely impeccable. But I think the one to watch will be Linda Caicedo. She's 18 years old. She's one of the most exciting young players out there right now for me personally. She won the Golden Ball last summer at the Copa America Femenina. A 15-year-old, at 15, she became the top goal scorer in the Colombian domestic championship. She made a senior debut for the national team, and her progress was absolutely relentless at this time. But everything changed when she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Unfortunately.
How old was she at the time, sorry, when she had
15 years old.
15 years old, and she got that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
She's fully now recovered, and she's utilising the resilience and the maturity that she learned from not being able to play, and she's applying it to the game, which you can see at Real Madrid. She's only been there since January, after leaving Deportivo Cali. I've probably pronounced that right. I do apologise for any Colombian fans listening. But for me personally, her humility, her joyfulness, and having fun, because football is a passion and not just a game to her, is absolutely everything for her as a player. She's finally going to her first senior Women's World Cup. She's played in the under-17s Women's World Cup and the under-20s in the last, I think, 18 months they were both on. They were runners-up in the under-17s. And she was captain while in India, which was really, really pretty awesome. She also scored the winning goal against Argentina in the semi-final of the Copa America de Femenina. So she's one to watch.
I mean, she's one of 2 18-year-olds in that team. I mean, it's incredible what she's done. I mean, just for the record, the other 18-year-old is Anna Maria Guzman. Certainly, based on what you said and based on what her age, what she achieved before then, really does feel like a potential rising star of football.
Yes.
And incredible to obviously come back from,
Yeah. I also need to add, Jonas, you better be watching.
Well, we have heard that Jonas is, well, obviously Jonas not only will he be bringing his expert punditry that he gave to us to the BBC during the Euros, he's bringing that back again.
Yeah.
We understand he will be having his eyes open, and no doubt some of the Arsenal staff will be there keeping an eye out for him. Maybe that could be one of those sort of gems that surprises people. My pick is Lady.
Real Madrid let her go. She's only been there since January.
Well, I think maybe we might have to let her wait on that one for a few years and then have to see what happens. I mean, if she shines at Real Madrid and in the Champions League, there'll be no.
Oh no, I take that back. Sorry, I do apologise. It was January 2022 she joined them.
Oh, okay, we might. Yeah, there could be a chance.
No, it was 23. Sorry, I can't read my own picture scratch.
Right.
I do apologise. It's definitely this January. I
refer to my previous statement. We'll have to wait on that one. My pick is Lady Andrade. She actually, in 2015, the last one at the World Cup, she scored against France, along with Busme in that 2-0 win, and then scored against England when Barsley got lobbed in at the 91st minute or something. And I think I can't remember, it was either she either lobbed Barsley or she was the one racing in to bundle it in. But she's certainly one of the more experienced players, 31 years old, very experienced Colombian, and I think she'll definitely get on the score sheet this time around. But it's a very intriguing team. No players in the WSL. It's either in, as you say, on the continent or in the La Liga Fem. But a very, very intriguing team, and I think they will give everybody a game, including our next team, Germany. Undoubtedly, the big, in inverted commas, the big team, the high seed in the. That's inverted commas, by the way. High seeded team in the particular group. I mean, the name speaks for itself. Legends of the women's game, 2 times winners in 2003 and 2007, beating Sweden in the final thanks to a golden goal, one of only 2 golden goals scored in women's international football, and beating Brazil in the other final in 2007. Interestingly, the only team they didn't beat in 2007 World Cup, any takers, Matt?
England.
England, 0-0 draw, exactly. Which shows, we were the
Just
real.
for the audio listeners, my mic was on mute there. I was pointing up my England badge. So, although I didn't watch it, I just knew. Yes,
we did. Unfortunately, 2 years later, we lost 6-2 in the Euro final to them, but we won't deal on that too much.
But 8 times. Revenge last summer.
Well, we were going to take my next question, which was they have won the Euros 8 times. They've only ever lost 1 final. And who was that to? Matt, I'm going to go to you as a German fan here. Who is it your team lost to?
Lottie's pointing her badge through. I think you should have chosen her instead.
No, exactly. It was of course the mighty England, but they are one of the finest women, ahead of the curve, one of the finest countries, along with the USA, one of the great women's football nations. And to accept that Nadine Kessler, legendary player for Germany, is now at UEFA as the head of women's football. So looking at the team that they brought along, some familiar faces for those of us who watched them lose at Euro 2022. Got Mel Froms, Chantal Hagel, Katrin Heinrich, Sophia Kleinhern, Marina Hegering, Lena Oberdorf, Leah Schürrle, Sydney Lohmann, Svenja Hoot, Laura Freigang, Alexandra Popp, Anne Katrinberger, Sarah de Brits, Lena Latvein, Sjoka Nusken, Nicole Anyomi, Felicitas Rauch, Melanie Leupolz, Clara Bull, Lena McGool, Skinny Jonas, Yul Brand, and Sarah Dawson. Just a quick question, some of the things will be familiar. How many of those don't play in the Frauen Bundesliga?
I think it's 2. 1 for Leon and 1 for someone else.
Not for 2.
My God.
I think you're right, Lottie. I think it is 2.
I can't remember the other team.
Is it 3?
It's Anne Katzenberger and Melanie Leupolz of Chelsea, and Sarah de Brits plays for Lyon. But all the other teams picked are Hoffenheim, Frankfurt, Bayern Munich, Wolfsburg, all those other Bundesliga teams. But before we go in depth ourselves and pick apart the German team, Matthias caught up with one of his German friends to get his perspective on the German national team.
Hello and welcome to a Vic Akers Wonderland. I am with our German giant, and he's very much given up his time to say hello to everyone and give his insight into Germany. And we're very lucky because, first of all, he's an Arsenal fan, and second of all, I've had the pleasure of podcasting with him before, and that is Andreas. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Matt, for having me in your show. Looking forward to discuss the German team for the World Cup.
So, what's the feeling over in Germany at the moment? Is there an anticipation around the squad as a whole? Obviously, with what's happened with the Euros, with Martina Voss, Tecklenburg as manager, what's the whole feeling around the team as a whole?
I would say about 1 or 2 weeks ago, the expectation was that the German team will at least reach the semi-final or has a good chance to win the World Cup. But you know that last Friday, Germany played versus Zambia, the last friendly before the World Cup, the send-off, and they were supposed to win, have a decent win, 4-5, 6-0, and go with self-confidence to the World Cup. And what happened? Germany lost 2-3 against Zambia. Zambia is number 77 in the world ranking, and then normally a team you have to beat. And at the end, you have to say it was a deserved win for Zambia. Germany didn't have many chances. Of course, they had a lot of ball possession, but they didn't create many chances, and both goals were scored late. The equalizer was in the, 95th, 97th minute. And I watched the match, and when Alex Popp scored the equalizer, I thought, this is not deserved. Zambia would have deserved the win. And then in the 100th minute or 111th minute, they scored to Barbara Banda, the winner. And this gave the German fans the feeling that there are many problems in the team, and it's only 2.5 weeks to the first match against Morocco, and it's not. There's no development to be seen from the last matches, and the question is, will the coaches and the team, will they be able to solve all these problems in 2.5 weeks? And they haven't made one really good match in 23. Of course, there was a 1-0 win against Netherlands and the 2-1 against Vietnam. But I saw the match against Netherlands. I think Germany played with 12 players because Lynette Berenstein, she had 3 or 4 100% chances. She had she should have scored 3 times. Berenstein did everything she could that Germany will win this match. So a lot of problems in defense with long balls, and if you have strikers with a lot of pace, then the German defense is too slow. They have a really problem with pace. Marina Hegering, as the organizer of the defense, you could compare her with Jen Beattie. She's also 31, 32. She has a very good eye for the match, or she can organize her defense, but she lacks the pace. And the other central center back is Kati Hendrich. She is the player with a lot of pace, but she needs someone to tell her where to go, or how to defend. So this was in all the last matches against Brazil, Vietnam, and now Zambia. This was the problem, that with long balls and with strikers or attackers with pace, the German defense is not able to defend properly. And and then the next problem is the midfield. There are not enough ideas or creativity from the midfield. Of course, they have Sarah de Brits from Lyon, and Lina Magul, the captain from Bayern Munich, from the national champion, but they seem to be out of form for many weeks now. And the last two matches, both Magul and Debritz, they created two less chances, or just to say, they're passing the ball 3, 4, 5 meters to the next player, but not the opening pass, not the idea. And from the wingers, there were no balls inside the box. It was all a lack of ideas. And as I said, it's only 2.5 weeks or 2 weeks. Where to find these ideas? So I think Germany is flying or flew to Australia not with self-confidence, but with a lost send-off match and with lots of questions how to solve these problems. Yeah, of course you can say that there is one German word this valid for the men's and the women's team. Germany is Turniermannschaft, a team that is growing in a tournament. They often had problems in the last weeks, last matches before big tournament, the men and the women. And then when the tournament starts, they are developing, they are growing. And this is the hope everybody has. Just last year it was similar. Germany lost against Serbia 2-3. And then look how they played at the Euros. Against Denmark 4-0, against Spain 2-0, and they were in the tournament. So if they can prove again to be such a team that grows in a tournament, such a Turniermannschaft, then everything is possible.
Is that one of the things that worries you? Is that you look at some of the previous tournaments and that fills you with a lot of confidence? Some of the players in the team, they've got some of that experience. Looks out, or the likes of Pops, for example. Pop.
Yeah.
And you probably look at some of the other ones that were in that Euro squad. Some of them are still in there. Actually, what I will do is I'll just quickly go over that squad. You've got Merle Froms, who will be considered the number one, and Katrina Berger. We know what she's like, being one for Chelsea. Stina Johannes.
Stina Johannes is goalkeeper number 3 from Frankfurt.
Chantal Hagel, Catherine Heydrich, Sophia Kleinhorn, Maria Hegering. I don't know about this one. Shavoka?
Yeah, she came from Frankfurt. She'll play for Chelsea next season. She already signed for Chelsea. Very, very talented centre back. I think 21 years young. But the others you mentioned, Hegering, Hendrik, they are over 30, and it's nearly the same team from the Euros, but they are 1 year older, and we all know what happens when you are over 30. You lack pace. Hegering was injured many times during the season. She had to be substituted now against Zambia because she had a little injury. So, of course, they are missing Julia Gwynn, the right back from the Euros, because she had an ACL in October and didn't make it in time to be back.
It seems to be a lot of common thing. Unfortunately, Germany are missing Caro Simon. She's suffered an ACL in that Zambia match, and a lot of praise went into it. I saw a lot of journalists mention that Caro Simon was playing fantastically in that match, and she was going to be the danger for the oppositions. Is that also one of the losses, because it's Janina Min? I don't want to say that the other way because it's not going to come across very appropriately. Is her standby replacement?
No, I think Caro Simon played a fantastic season for Bayern Munich. She was out from the national team since 2019. She had some mental problems, and the last season she said by herself that this was her best season ever. She's 31 now, and it's a real tragedy for her now, fighting her way back to the national team, nearly sure that she would have been in the squad of 23. And then this injury in the 97th minute, in 7th minute of stoppage time was, yeah, but when I saw it, it was so similar to Beth Mead's injury or Leah Williamson's injury. From the very first moment, she signalized that I can't continue playing. I need medicine help, and players who went to her were just calling the doctors and come on. And when you saw it in slow motion, the way she came to the ground with her leg, and then the leg under the knee was just like this. So when I saw it, I said, she has done her ACL. I would have been really surprised if not. So it's a tragedy for the player. As I said, 31 years old, and we know she's out now for 10, 12 months. She has only 1 year left in of her contract at Bayern Munich. Yeah, and of course, the national team will miss her dynamic. Her left foot is just fantastic. Her free kicks, corners, yeah. Germany will miss her.
Is there anyone that can fill that role that you feel similarly, or is there someone? So the other two that I didn't mention, Felicia Roch and Sarah Dorsoon, both at Bayern Munich. No, Roch is sorry, Wolfsburg.
Dorsoon from Frankfurt and Rauch,
yeah.
Philly Rauch is from Wolfsburg.
There we go. Check. I might say hands up.
Normally, Felicitas Rauch is playing on the left as left back. So Caro Simon came in as a sub for her against Zambia. Normally, I think Philly Rauch will start, and yeah, Martina Voss-Tecklenburg, she prefers the Wolfsburg players. She started against Zambia with 8 players from Wolfsburg in the starting lineup, and this is something I don't think this is correct for the other players. There are other teams. The German champions is Bayern Munich. Frankfurt has beaten Wolfsburg in March 4-0. So there are good players in the German Bundesliga, and not only Wolfsburg players, starting with 8 from them, and it doesn't work. You see, you need in a national team, you need ideas from other teams. You need fresh ideas, something different, not only the same style. Yeah, but normally the defense will be Melle Froms in goal, Willi Rauch, Marina Hegering, Kathi Hendrich. These are all Wolfsburg players. And who will be the right back for the sub for Julia Gwynn? Probably Sophia Kleinherne from Frankfurt, I think. Against Zambia, the coach was trying Svenja Huth, who is normally a right winger. She played a right back, and this didn't work. In the last matches, she tried Nicole Agnomi from Frankfurt, who also is an attacker as right back. So yeah, these are the things, what I said, there are a lot of problems. And if you haven't solved all these problems 2 weeks before World Cup, it's difficult.
So just talking about that, you've also looked at some of the midfield and the attack. So you just think about Lana Oberdorf, who was young player of the tournament for the Euros, Leah Schuler, Sydney Lohmann, Svenja Huth, Laura Freigang, Alexandra Popp, as we mentioned, Sarah de Brits, Lena Latvine, Nicole Aniomi, Melanie Leopold for Chelsea, that we've seen quite a lot of, Clara Bull, Lena McGull, as you mentioned, and Hilbrand as well. That's the other names. Now, is there anything going forward that you feel that's going to be helpful for Germany. So if it's a Leonard or Oberdorf having to fill that defensive role a little bit more this time around compared to what she was doing at the Euros.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke a lot about Lena Oberdorf when we faced Wolfsburg in Champions League, and I often said I don't like the way she plays because it's these little dirty fouls and attacks and so, but to be fair against her, she's fantastic defensive midfielder, holding midfielder. Maybe she's the best in Europe on this position, and she's still 21 years young. And Germany couldn't replace her. If she's out with an injury or muscle problems, or if she gets a red card, and there would be nobody to replace her. She's the heart of the defensive midfield, and really, if I like her or not, she's really talented and gifted player. And and the others in midfield, in the last matches, it was always Sarah de Brits from Olympique Lyon and Lina Magoul. I would prefer to give Sydney Lohmann from Bayern Munich a chance. Every time she comes in, her dynamic, the mentality, the will to change something is to be seen. And everybody after a match says Sydney Lohmann was good, and when she came in, she brought an impact. You can read it in the German press. One of the best players once again, Sydney Lohmann, but she gets only a chance for 20 or 30 minutes. I can't understand this. And others, why not giving Laura Freigang a chance? She played in Frankfurt on the number 10 position in the national team. When she comes in, she's often the sub for Alex Popp as number 9. But for me, she's stronger at a number 10 position. So I would try Lena Oberdorf, Sydney Lohmann, maybe Laura Freigang in the midfield. But the way the midfield played is too lacking of ideas and too slow. Not the opening passes for the attackers.
Is there one player that you look at and think that they're going to be the one to watch for those that don't watch the Frauen Bundesliga, or perhaps they're already in Champions League, for example, and they're one to keep an eye on?
Of course, it's Alex Popp. She had, you saw her at the Euros. She scored 6 goals, I think, the same number of goals as Beth Mead. Yeah. She's extremely strong in the air. Against Zambia, once again with her head, the equalizer. She's very robust and strong, and with a strong will leader in the team. And she had a great season. She won the Golden Ball in Germany. She scored the most goals in Bundesliga. I think she's the one with her mentality and with her ability to lead a team. She's the role model for the young players, and she's the one you should watch. And if you want to win against Germany, you must control Alex Popp and her abilities in the air. Free kicks, corners, everything. It's difficult to defend her. And on the wings, there is normally Svenja Huth from Wolfsburg too, and Clara Buhl from Bayern Munich. But Clara Buhl had a very bad performance against Zambia. Sometimes it seems as if she had played too much. Bayern Munich had a lot of injury problems, not as much as Arsenal, of course, but two ACLs too, and some other injury problems. So Clara Bull had to play nearly every match, and the longer the season was going, you got the feeling she needs a rest. She needs a rest, but she played and played and played, and yeah, and now 2 weeks holiday, and she's playing again 90 minutes against Vietnam, and now starting lineup against Zambia. And her replacement could be Jule Brandt. we know her from the Champions League semi-final. She was the one to get the ball in 180th minute against Lottie. But Jule Brandt was normally only a substitute at Wolfsburg. She played 10-15 minutes maximum at their matches, and I think in the national team you saw that she's lacking confidence, or she's not used to play 90 minutes. She's 21 years young. I don't understand why Wolfsburg is not using her talent and sitting her on the bench. Maybe this could be a problem because the potential is there for Jule Brandt. She has a lot of pace, but as I said, she's lacking game time.
Is that one of the worries that you look at? And some, as you mentioned, some players are being overplayed in the league, and then that when you come up to a tournament, you're expecting at some point there's going to be the fatigue's going to set in. Then you think about the squads flying over to Australia. It might even be at this current moment. Do you find it difficult that they're not able to have that time to be able to rest and reset? I know we've talked about ACLs in the past. Is that one of the worries that come the World Cup, that some of these players haven't had a lot of time to rest and reset? They've had, maybe as you mentioned, for Corbeau, 2 weeks, and then they're having to go again, and then come after the World Cup, they'll have about 2 weeks let rest, train, then they'll start pre-season training. Then comes September, they got the the Nations League fixtures, and then they're back into matchday fixtures. Is that one worry that you have? Is that come this World Cup, Germany might have? I suppose it's the same worry for every country as well, because it might not just be Germany. That somewhere around there, that's not sustainable.
As you said, every country has this problem. That there was a Euro, then a lot of international friendlies and the league matches, the Champions League. But this problem is valid for the English players, for all the international players in the WSL or in Bundesliga or in France, in Spain. It's the same problem. But as I said, Bayern Munich had a lot of injury problems, so the key players had to play many minutes and didn't get enough rest because they had a small squad. They had not as much injuries as Arsenal had. No other team had so many long-term injuries, but the squad planning from Bayern was with a small squad like Joe Montemurro had. And then when you lose 2 players to an ACL and 2 others with long-term muscle injuries, then the others have to play all the time. And they seem to be tired or didn't have enough rest. And the Wolfsburg players, they had a bad second half of the season. Of course, they reached the Champions League final, but they lost 3 matches in Bundesliga against Hoffenheim, against Frankfurt, and against Bayern Munich. They were only the 4th best team in the second half of the season. This is not good for their self-confidence, and there are reasons why they lost these 3 matches in Bundesliga, because they weren't good enough. They were overplayed. And if you look at Champions League, Wolfsburg was lucky to go through against Paris Saint-Germain. It was I think 1-0 and 1-1, but really lucky also with referee decisions and so. And against us, they were more than lucky with this late winner, but they didn't play well. And the final against Barcelona, it was very good 45 minutes from Wolfsburg, but then this was it. I think very often you could see they are overplayed, and maybe the team has become a bit old. I don't want to sound too negative, but because if players are 30, 31, 32, you can't say they are old. No, I'm old, but but for a professional athlete, it will be more difficult every year when you're over 30. And yeah, maybe they missed the right moment to bring in younger players in key roles, like Lena Oberdorf. She's one of two less young players at Wolfsburg, and Martina Voss-Tecklenburg, she prefers the Wolfsburg block with 7-8 players from this team, from a team that didn't play well in 2023. This is really a concern, I think, for the German team. What's good for them is that they have an easy group. I think Morocco, Colombia, South Korea normally should be decent wins for Germany. But then in knockout stage, they will face Brazil or France, and then they have to show that they are really in the tournament.
Is that one of your worries? Is that it could go one or two ways? I know you mentioned it earlier. Like you look at the Euros last year. If I'm honest, I think a lot of people weren't expecting Germany to get as far as they did. But you look at how well they did, and do you think that they could perhaps do it again, albeit that they've got Colombia, South Korea, and Morocco in their group? They're expected to top that group. They have yet to face all three of those teams yet in the competition as well. Is that something that fills you with a bit of confidence, or is it still a bit of a worry for you?
Okay. That's why they try to play against teams with a similar style of playing. Vietnam, just to face South Korea and see how the Asian teams are playing. And then Zambia, maybe they could show how Morocco could play. So they played Brazil, Colombia. So this was the intention from the coaching staff. And normally I think Germany should win all three group matches. But last summer, they had to face Denmark and Spain. And I said before the Euros, against Spain, I don't think Germany will win. And Denmark is a 50-50 match. But look how wonderful they started against Denmark with a 4-0 win. Everything looked so easy, and they went with a lot of self-confidence against Spain. And this time, even if they win all the three group matches, I don't think that they will have the same self-confidence from these three matches as they had from beating Denmark and Spain. And then, as I said, then in the knockout stage, facing Brazil, Germany lost 1-2 2 months ago against Brazil, and it was a really deserved loss. Brazil was 2-0 up, and the goal for Germany was in stoppage time. So this would be a heavy task. And France, if it's not Brazil, then it will be France. Germany played France at the Euros. It was a tough match with, I think, 2-1 for Germany. This won't be easy too. And if this is the first really challenging match, if you have a group stage, you win. But then you have the first challenging match in the knockout stage. This could be a problem.
So where would you like? Well, realistically, you would see them as a knockout team, but you don't think they're going to go that far. Based on, would anything change your mind at all? I
think, if I think Germany will win their group, and then if they go through the first knockout match against Brazil or France, then I think everything is possible for Germany. Normally, they should be a team that can reach the semifinals. Yeah, it's difficult to say. There are a lot of teams that can go through in the World Cup. Of course, USA, Spain, France, Australia at home. It's difficult. So I think if Germany beats France or Brazil, then everything is possible. But yeah, I'm first. I'm supporting the Lionesses. I'm German. I live in Germany, but my team is England.
Is there anything that you think maybe it's going to be the manager Martina Voss Tecklenburg's? It could be her last shot. If she doesn't do anything with this, it will be seen as a failure, and she might have to be at the end of her reign, and someone else is going to come in.
I don't think so, because she has a lot of credit in German public and in the German FA because of last year. Yeah, Germany was facing problems last year too, and nobody expected them to reach the final and to be so close to winning the Euros. And so everybody says, give them time, trust Martina Voss-Tecklenburg. She will make it again. And yeah, I think the atmosphere in the team is really good again. So they believe they believe in the team spirit and everything. That's okay. And yeah, I think if they go out in group stage, then maybe the German FA might decide we need a new coach. But if they go through the group stage and out in somewhere in the knockout stage, no, Martina Voss-Tecklenburg will be the coach for the next Euros in Switzerland too.
Okay, that's all of my questions. So I'm just gonna go back to the studio, and we'll see you all soon.
Once again, Andreas, for giving us your time to pick over Germany. Obviously, as you can tell, not his favourite team in the world, but one he obviously knows quite a lot about. Matthias, you obviously interviewed him. In terms of the team that's been picked by Martina Voss-Tecklenburg, who is your pick?
I thought it was going to be a difficult one. There's so many talented players in there that you could pick from, but I went for Felicia Roch. She was a fantastic player against us, unfortunately. Us? Yes, against us, as in Arsenal.
Well, you are German, Matt, and testing this one. So, I mean, let's not beat around the bush here.
Us, as in when Wolfsburg were playing Arsenal, she was a
right.
side. But she's a fantastic player at the back, and she is definitely one to watch. The way she can dribble the ball, the way she can attack and defend, she's a very much lethal weapon.
Lottie, I know you've got a few favourites to share.
I'm going to. Well, I think with
Despite
two key
being
players.
Team England, we should say.
I think two key players from like this season, even domestically, to keep an eye out from. It's got to be Mel Froms, 40 caps since 2018. She's definitely got that #1 jersey. After 4 clean sheets during her run at the Women's Euros last summer until the final. I think this season she's lifted the DFB Polka Cup. I think that's pronounced. She's come second in the Women's Champions League after evicting Arsenal out in that semi-final. But, you know, is what it is, unfortunately.
The box, don't we? We know she's good for screamers.
I think we just need another Jen Beattie header, you know, bang. And she doesn't even realise it comes in, and then we're running over Alexandra Pop. But that's besides the point. But she brings to her agility between the posts. She's technical skill is just second to none, and she just always has that air of supreme confidence about her as well, and especially with the ball at her feet. she's not worried about any striker coming running at her, and that includes Freddie Marnham. The other one for me is also, I think, is going to be really interesting, is Catherine Hendrich. 58 caps, 5 goals as a defender. Marina Heggering hasn't been fully fit all season long. So she is more than worthy to cover her if Marina's fitness goes down. Her positional play and her uncompromising tackles are just she's not the one to be underestimated when it comes to her pace as well, because it is decent. And then you've also got the likes of it. Is it Savannah Huth? 80 caps, 14 goals. Experience from several major tournaments. Her goal scoring prowess is a lot higher than it is running hard yards for her team, but she will put the work in when needed. I do feel like this could be her last tournament personally. But we'll wait and see. She might actually go to the next one. We don't know. But the one player to watch is Lena Orvadov, and I know Andreas is going to completely disagree with me here because she is a Wolfsburg player. But at 21, for me, she is the complete player. Her technique, her fighting spirit it's impeccable, and I'm dare going to say it's absolutely parallel to Joshua Kimmich in the men's team. Same position, and it's just the same energy for me personally. She was named in the FIFA Pro Women's World
11.
Team 11. That's it. Sorry, I do apologise. At the FIFA Football Awards too, and she's only 21 years old. Can you imagine the ceiling this girl's got? It's so exciting. Don't get me wrong, I like to watch her play, but I just don't like watching her in a Wolfsburg shirt.
Young player of the tournament in the last Euros as well.
Yes.
The one problem is because she's quite hot-headed, she does go in very much like Georgia Stanway did at Man City, where she just goes in for those crunching tackles, and it does cause a lot of issues. And you've seen it, especially at Wolfsburg last season in the Champions League. Leaves a challenge on Leah Volti. Kate McKay goes straight into her, and you had a couple of other players after her.
The thing is that holding your temper comes with age, although I don't think that applies to Katie. So I don't know if I can actually say that. But the thing is, sometimes, do you know what? I've got to admit, I love a hot-headed player. I as an Arsenal fan, I adore Kate and Cape anyway. But a hot-headed player always brings a bit of spice to a game, and it's usually okay for me personally. As long as one of my players don't get injured, I'm okay with it.
With hot-headedness, there's always a line in the sand, and as long as you don't overstep it,
of course not.
Of course not. I think Katie, I think there's only one time I remember getting a second booking, and that was that Man against Man United. Not last season, but the season before that. I've got a few to look out for, and I know that she has become the victim of a bit of ridicule amongst the Arsenal fans, and I know that she's not the favourite player of Lottie, but I think we have to at least give a shout out.
This is an emergency call. We are now looking for Jen Beattie. Attention,
Beattie, yes.
Beattie, please report to the Akers Wonderland podcast. Pop is in the building.
Yes, I mean we have. Hilarity aside, it was very funny when Jen Beattie knocked her over in the box. It was very, very, very funny, and we can all have a smile and a laugh. Even though we didn't win the game, we won. We won that, and that will live with us forever. And I'm absolutely, yes, absolutely. But in all seriousness, from an international perspective, she is an amazing striker that has just been a bit like, from injury perspective, Jordan Nobbs, of just being robbed of the chances to play for her country. In fact, the Euros last summer was the first chance that she got a real crack at playing at a tournament. And I mean, if it wasn't for Beth Mead, she would have been the player of the tournament. She was Germany's best player. Goals, tied for goals with Beth Mead. It was only assists from Beth Mead that won her the Golden Boot. And I honestly believe, this is going to sound a bit pessimistic, but if Pop had been fit for that final, because as we all know, she got injured in the warm-up, and she was the player I was really nervous about. Obviously, Oberdorf's amazing. But if Pop had been fit in that final, I do wonder if that game might have gone differently, because I watched them play pretty much all the tournament. I was there at Milton Keynes. I was there at Brentford when I watched them play, and she was just incredible in the air, incredible goal scoring. I was there at the Champions League final much just now, a few months ago, where she scored a great header to put Wolfsburg 2-0 up in that first half. One of the best forwards in Europe. And if she stays fit, and that's the only thing that's going to hold her back is fitness. If she can stay fit throughout the entire tournament, she'll give Germany a real chance. My other eye is Lena McGool. I think she was the one who ended up scoring in the final against England. But she's another forward who knows where the goal is, and will obviously be a big fan of Andreas because she plays at Bayern Munich. So I'm sure she's in Andreas' good books. But yeah, she's my pick. Interesting. What I'm finding with the goalkeeper perspective is I think we can all agree that Merle Franz is the number one keeper for Germany, but obviously Chelsea have Ann-Katrin Berger, who for me has been one of the reasons Chelsea have done so well is because they've had such a world-class keeper, and she can't get anywhere near the sort of German first pick. Which, as an Arsenal fan, seeing that happen, it can be a bit smug, but it just shows the incredible depth of talent Germany have. That one of the best goalkeepers in the WSL, just behind Manu Zinsberger and Sabrina D'Angelo, obviously, can't get a number one jersey with Germany. So I won't be Banner Bush. They are my pick to win the World Cup this year, which I know Matthias will be very happy with. I don't think it'll be Germany, and I don't think it'll be the USA. I don't think England. I think it will be Germany, and I think we saw at the Euros what they can do, and I think they're going to get better. And there's an old sort of rule which if they play badly in the build up to the tournament, they usually do quite well. And we all know what happened in their recent friendly when they lost 3-2. So I think they will all set to have a really, really good World Cup. So they're my pick to win. Moving on though, from a team that has won the World Cup more than once to a team who are making their debut, and that is Morocco. This is their first World Cup. They have appeared in the AFCON a few times. They actually got to the final recently where they lost to South Africa. So we'll just quickly go through the team sheets. There's only one name I think we all do recognise. The rest play either in Morocco or in France or in Italy, but we'll go through them all. So from 1 to 23, there is Khadija Ramuchi, Zineb Redouani, Nouali Benzina, Sarah Cassie, Nesrin El-Shad, Elodie Nafat, Gizlani Shebek, who's the captain, Salma Amani, Ibsam Jadi, Najat Badri, Fatima Tagnaut, Asia Zuhair, Saba Segir, Rika Mazraoui, Fatima Zoragabi, Anisa Lamari, Hanan Ait Al-Haj, Kenza Chappal, Sakina Uzraoui Diki, Sofia Buftini, Yasmin Mrabet, Inez Arasia, and Rosella Ayan, who plays for Tottenham Hotspur and very recently announced her contract extension with the club. She will be staying with Doverton a bit longer. I'm going to go to Lottie first, if you could just give us a quick rundown on Rosella Ayani.
Yeah, I think this she's actually quite interesting. She is a Tottenham Hotspur forward. Probably thinking, hang on a minute, why are you looking at a Spurs player? I think this one for me is really interesting. Her stats: she's been at Tottenham Hotspur since 2019. She's had 59 appearances and only 3 goals. But in 2021, she's finally made her debut for the Moroccan team. 21 appearances and 9 goals. So I don't think there's something not clicking right at Tottenham Hotspur for me with those stats. To be honest with you, she's played with the England youth teams. She is actually eligible to go and play alongside Jen Beattie, but she chose to represent her father's team, which I thought was really interesting. She has. You look back at the women's AFCON. She's got her prowess in the final third is impeccable. She's breaking through the lines with she has a great understanding of her teammates. I don't think she has that at Tottenham Hotspur. Because it sounds like I'm talking about a completely different player right now, to be honest with you.
We should just add for the record, before we go with Tottenham Hotspur, nobody has any chemistry at all with anybody at Spurs. If anyone's watched them, they're just they're a mess. But we're not here to talk about Spurs. We're talking about
I know, but I'm talking about one of their forwards that hasn't scored 3 in 59 appearances,
which is madness.
Yes, absolutely, and she's got 9 in 21 for Morocco. She did set up Morocco's equaliser against Nigeria in the semi-final of the women's AFCON, and then she went on to score against South Africa in the final as well. But I believe Matt's got a bit of a funny story for us on that one.
Yes,
Yes, go on, Matt. Do tell all.
You have mentioned the semi-final, and in that semi-final went to penalties, and essentially she went to take the last penalty. She scored, and she hadn't known that she actually scored. I'm taking this at the wrong time because Lottie just had a drink. She scored. She didn't know that they'd won it. So all the Moroccan players run to sort of go after you, like to say you done it, and I don't. The video of her her face is almost like of shock. She didn't know what hell was going on. The video is better than the story, if I'm honest, but it was a fantastic video that was put out, and that was around the same time as the Euros. But Morocco debut, they qualified via the Cup of Nations, which they eventually won. Their top goal scorer of that tournament was Gizmo Shibak with 3 goals. She was a joint top goal scorer as well as the best player of the tournament.
Oh, the captain, Shibak, yes.
I've got to completely agree with that there. Her ball control and her strong and decisive attacking moves they're nice, something nice to watch, trust me. So she was my next one, but Matt beat me to it.
As you were, yeah. No, I'm excited to see Morocco. I mean, I confess, obviously, I've yet to have the privilege of watching them play, but it looks like they are one of the big potential sort of rising nations in women's football, obviously getting to the AFCON final and coming very, very close to toppling South Africa. Obviously, finished 2-1 in South Africa's favour. So it is a team to watch out for. They're looking at the teams that are there. It's certainly not a group of death when you think about some of the other groups we've picked over. So I think there is certainly the potential for an outsider to maybe make a run for it, and maybe Morocco could be that one.
Adam, do you know what? I'm really quite excited for them because obviously the men, they've had their first World Cup. I think was it their first World Cup in Qatar?
I'm not sure it was the first World Cup, but it was definitely the furthest they've been.
It's the World Cup they've had, and they've really enjoyed it. I'm really quite excited to see what Moroccan fans turn up, because that's the one thing I did enjoy about the men's tournament. I always kept an eye on the Moroccan fans because they were always doing something fun. So I'm quite excited for them because they're the first Arab team to play the FIFA World Cup as well, which is really exciting for them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to some fun this year from them. That's for sure.
I love watching. Obviously, it's a different tournament, but I love watching the men's team at Qatar. Just because the way they were toppling the titans like the Spain and Portugal, and suddenly find themselves semi-final, and you're just thinking, could this be the greatest miracle ever? Sadly for them, it was not, but it was still really fun to watch. And,
I know, 100%. I mean, with this group, apart from Germany, you just don't know what way it's going to go. You've got the aggressive Colombia, you've got the wonder dreamers of Morocco, and then you got the Korea Republic. You just don't know what way it's going to go.
Well, let's just move quickly on to that one, shall we? The Korean Republic. The last team we're going to analyse in this marathon podcast we've been doing, which month now must be, the last team on the list, which is the Korean Republic. We'll just quickly go through the team sheets first. So you have, and again, we should say to the nation of Korean Republic, sorry if any offence caused by my attempt to pronounce the names, but we should just put that disclaimer in. The team are as follows: Yoon Yong-hyeol, Chu Hyo-ju, Hong Hae-ji, Shim Seo-yeon, Kim Yeon-ji, Lim Seon-ju, Son Hwan-yeon, Cho Son-hyun of the Tottenham Hotspur, Lee Gwim-min of the Brighton and Hove Albion, Ji So-yeon, who should be a very familiar name for those of you of the Chelsea persuasion, Cho Yu-ri, Moon Mi-ra, Park Yeon-sun, Jeon Yun-ha, Chun Ga-ram, Yang Sao-gi, Lee Yong-ju, Kim Jong-mi, Casey Fair, Kim Hri-yi, Ryo Ji-soo, Bae Ye-bin, and Kang Shae-rim. So I'm going to go to Matt first. This one, Matt, who jumps out the team sheet for you?
So I went for the Brighton midfielder Lee Gun-min. Brentford scored 4 goals this season in 25 appearances across the board this season. I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next season with a new manager at Brighton. And I think Brighton are going to be one of the ones to watch, if I'm honest, if we're going WSL talk. But in the meantime, I think she's going to be one of those players that you have to watch at the World Cup to understand her a little bit more.
Lottie, any one from your
I've kind of
we should
gone
look
for
out for?
a nice easy one in the Ji Soo-yeon. Used to play for Chelsea. Well, she was here from 2014 through to the end of 2021 season.
It was, I think it was 2022 she left.
Yeah, close enough for me. I believe I got to saw her play before she left, and I haven't seen enough minutes from her to have a full opinion. But 145 caps, 67 goals. What do you guys remember of Ji Soo-yeon?
She
In the
scored
WSL.
a really annoying goal in the FA Cup semi-final against us.
She did. At Meadow Park, she did. But she was one of when the WSL began in about 2011. So she came in about 3 years into it, and sort of as Chelsea rose as a team, she rose with them in the half-time midfield. She was the crucial, centerpiece of the midfield.
It was her Kirby at first, wasn't it? And then it was her, Kirby, and then Kerr as well added in. So it was almost like you're getting hit by 3. It's almost like us now at the moment. You look at next season, we're going to have Russo, we're going to have Lacasse and Thor, Miedema, Freedom Martin, and basically anything can happen across that line. That's essentially what Leeson. But I'll just quickly, before I forget, Lee Gunmin also played for Man City before she moved to Brighton on loan, but she also ended Chelsea's 33 unbeaten run in February 2021.
This was 21. Okay, yeah.
Lee Gunmin.
Oh, this was the 2-1 win at the Kingsmeadow. Yes, that was very funny habits. In fact, Chelsea haven't lost a game at Kingsmeadow since, if memory serves. They're still unbeaten at home, I believe, since that game. Although I'm sure Matt will step in and correct me if I'm wrong. Just quickly before we wrap up Career Republic, just a shout out to their track record at the World Cup. This will be their 4th appearance. They haven't really done that well, unfortunately. 2003, they finished bottom of the group without a win. But 2015, they actually got out of the group, beating Spain of all teams 2-1. They got to face France in the last 16 and sadly lost 3-0. And then at the last World Cup, 2019, they were actually the opening game of the tournament against France. They lost 4-0 and their tournament never really recovered. Again, finished with no points. They did, however, get to the Asian Cup final, where they went 2-0 up against China at half-time and lost 3-2. There's clearly talent in the team, but it doesn't look like they've got that sort of winning sort of mentality to get them through. And well, we'll see how they go. They should. It feels like a team that should do better than maybe they are doing at the moment. My pick out the group is Colombia to progress alongside Germany, but Korea could be the one. Yeah, the sort of 50-50 on it. Just want to quickly get from you, Matt, your Group H predictions.
I just think it would be really good for African football and Arab football as well that Morocco get out of the group. Imagine back-to-back World Cups where you've got both teams getting out of the group and progressing maybe into the knockout round, say the quarterfinals. That would be huge for them.
Lottie, which way do you see Group H going?
I am going to back Germany to top the group. That's in absolutely no doubt. Unless one of those teams can pull off a Zambia like the other day, that would be absolutely incredible. And that will make me very happy.
Big shout out to Zambia for that, by the way. Just incredible goal. The winner is amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. But for me, for second and third, it is going to be a toss-up between Morocco and Colombia. Don't know which order. But sadly, Korea Republic, I think they're going to finish bottom of the group.
As per their form in 2 of the last 3 tournaments. No, that's a very fair shout. It's a very fair shout. We'll wrap up with our 5-a-side teams. But before we do that, Lottie has a quick announcement to make about a little special thing that we are currently running over on the interwebs. Lottie, what is that?
On the interwebs, we have finally set up a fantasy football league for the World Cup. We will be playing WSL next season. I will get Adam to play.
No, you won't. But I
know.
am playing for this one. So this is like,
Yes.
yeah, if you want to take me on and beat me, this is your best chance.
Adam likes to claim that he's going to play it to lose, but he's not. He's going to try and win it. Thing is, I will reveal a little secret here. He's going to be very embarrassed again. He was top of the league all the way through the Euros, and then he did a Tottenham Hotspur and fumbled at the last stop.
I think you mean I did an Arsenal and fumbled it at the last minute. I think it's probably the more accurate term.
In terms of women's football, yes, probably, but yeah, it's Spursy. Spursy is officially in the English dictionary. Go look it up.
Yeah, it is.
So, but anyway, if you want to come and play fantasy football, take on me, Matt, and Adam, please do go and look up sheplays.com.au. Create your account. You can pick your starting 11. The first draw is on closing line, I think, is 6 p.m. UK time on Wednesday. Please check your time zones if you are tuning in from around the world. And if you want the code to join the league, it will be in the description under the video. It will be also in the Spotify and Apple Podcast descriptions. So yeah, come and take us on.
Yeah, we welcome everyone, and I'm sure you will pick well. And if you've been paying attention to our five-a-side team picks, you'll know who are the gems to look out for. So, on that note, we'll go to Lottie first. Lottie, who is your five-a-side team for Group H?
I've got Mel Fromms in goal from Germany.
Of course.
Got Catherine Hendrich in my defence.
Mm-hmm.
In my midfield, I've got is it Ghislaine Chebak from Morocco? Ji Soo-yeon from South Korea, and up top I've got Linda Casado.
Okay. Matt, who have you gone for?
So, Catalona Perez of Colombia, Bentia Nia Ayala, who will be the first ever woman to wear a hijab at the World Cup. So it's a huge step for them.
Brilliant moment for that. Really good to see.
Lee Agunmin in midfield, Sydney Lauman and Lena McGaul make up my team.
Ooh, that is a good team. Mine slightly similar to Lottie. Again, I think she's copying my notes, or I'm copying hers. One of the two. I have also gone for Fromms in goal, and I've also gone for Hendrick in the defence. But I've gone for Seba Singir from Morocco in defence, G in midfield, and Lady Andrade in attack. Those are five-a-side teams. And if you think you can do better, certainly I think you can probably do better than mine. Do leave a comment on the Twitter whilst it still exists, and in YouTube comments. We do love to hear your opinions. And if you want to comment on our teams, on our attempts to pronounce your team's players, do let us know. But that is it, everyone. That's it. We have covered every single group from A to H. We have covered every single team that is going to participate in the World Cup this year. I am rather excited. I think we all are. Just to round off, as we now covered all the teams, I've said my pick to win is Germany. Very quickly, Matt, obviously your allegiance is Germany, but if it wasn't that, who are you backing to win this year?
I think it's going to be through a couple of teams. I don't think the US are going to win it. I think it would be quite nice for Brazil to win it. It'd be something that Marta can finally get her hands on, and she's mentioned that how much of a Formiga and some of the other girls that have come before her, it would mean a lot for them to lift the World Cup, and I think they will be looking to right some wrongs, especially after that final Yzma.
Lottie, obviously, we know you're a big supporter of England in this one and wanting to win it, and obviously we all do. But that aside, is there another team you think you might also win it, or are you all England?
I'll be honest with you. If we had Beth Mead and Leah Williamson, I'd be confident, I'd be cocky. This trophy is ours, but I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not.
No.
That's not even Arsenal bias. That is me questioning the captain's mentality and the jelliness of this current team with all these new players coming in. It's not our European squad at the end of the day, and that's my issue. Oh God, I don't like this question. Yeah, I'm gonna back. I'm gonna back Sweden.
Back Sweden? Ooh, I like that. It's a nice.
They've been consistent. They've been consistent in semi-finals. I think this could be the one. It's also Caroline Seeger's last one as well. So We'll see. Thing is, I'm again not sure on her minutes. She hasn't had many minutes this season, so we'll see.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good prediction to me. Sweden, Germany, or maybe, as you say, that's Brazil. But that's it. That's all the time we have. That's every group covered. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, listened in, subscribed, liked, and followed us through this journey through the World Cup, to the journey to Stadium Australia. We're almost there. It's almost started the World Cup. We can't wait, and we will catch up soon as we build up. It's not going to be it'll be our last pod, won't it, until the World Cup kicks off?
Well, we kick off our World Cup shows on Tuesday, so fear not, we will be back every Tuesday and Friday talking about all the games, as many as we can watch.
So keep an eye out for that. But until then, farewell.